I just got out of my bed, got on my phone and just made £800-900 like that.
Roughly a week, what would you say you make? And how much did you buy them for?
The Jordan wing logo here.
And there's me thinking bricks is to do with houses.
Basically, sneaker drop shipping is
Really?
Yeah, they sell a lot.
What's good, B hustlers? You're tuning in to yet another video on the sofa with B. I have somebody who will be joining me to give us the full lowdown on how to start a reselling business. If you're new to my channel, I go by the name of B. I create videos around entrepreneurship, self-development, mindset, and a little bit of lifestyle with my vlogs. If you have been sticking around, you will know what I'm about. But anyways, let's go straight into On the Sofa with B. So Sam is here to give us an insight into how to start a reselling business, specifically with what he does, which is resells trainers, sneakers if you're in the US. Sam will be giving us a full insight into how he started and how you can maybe perhaps start this as a hustle of your own. You ready, Sam?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's get into it. What exactly is sneaker reselling?
So basically, sneaker reselling is just reselling high-end exclusive sneakers or trainers that you can't really get in store or you can't just find on a shelf. Your likes of Jordans and Yeezys that are quite popular. I am the one who plugs people with all these high-end sneakers that you generally can't get.
It's quite similar to people who also resell bags. I know a few ladies out there who buy designer handbags and actually flip them. So I guess the first thing I really want to know, how did you get started?
I've been reselling for about 2 years, well yeah, over 2 years now really. At the start of it, I just used to look at like Instagram posts. I never really thought much of it. There used to be like hot drops like with Off-Whites and Travis Scott's collaboration with Jordans, and I thought like that's pretty cool. So I was like, oh, let me just have a look at, see what this is all about. So I entered the raffles for them. Woke up at 9, by 9:05 I won a raffle for it. Then I was like, okay, I didn't know that how like big of a deal that was back then. Yeah. And then I went on to check online, the market price, boom, hit £800-900. I just got out of my bed, got on my phone and just made £800-900 like that.
And how much did you buy them for?
£170.
Did you have anyone to guide you into it?
I never knew anyone who was a sneaker reseller, so it was just basically me guiding myself in a way. So I did a bit of research online, then I started meeting new people online, and then it just was just straightforward from there.
Is there a difference between someone who is a sneaker head or someone who resells those sneakers? What would you say are the difference between the two people?
I'd say the core base of a sneakerhead and a sneaker reseller is that they both have that love and passion for sneakers. They're sneaker enthusiasts, because you can't sell what you don't know or what you don't love at the end of the day.
I hear that.
With a sneaker reseller, I feel like they got more of an entrepreneur mindset where they can take this as a business, whereas a sneakerhead is just someone who just has love for sneakers, doesn't care for the value, is straight on their feet. That's it, or collect them there.
Who would you say is best suited to perhaps adopt this kind of hustle?
For specifically sneaker reselling, you need to know your sneakers at the end of the day. You've got to be on the balls with knowing what you're getting, what sneakers are, what Jordans are, which one would sell, which one wouldn't sell. And also for like other people who are looking at other ways of income or want to find a hustle or side hustle to do, then it'll also be good for them, because it's not really a difficult thing to get into at the end of the day. But once you get your head around it, once you know like the base of it, then it should be like an easy process for you to flow through.
And one thing I wanted to also add to that, which is it doesn't have to be sneakers. This is to give you an idea of how reselling or the business of reselling works. You can be interested in reselling designer handbags, designer watches, whatever it may be. Once you have a model to reference, it becomes so much more easier to see it happening for any other products. Now, Sam, when you first started, the first pair you got through a raffle. When did you start taking it seriously, and what was the first pair of shoes that you went out there and bought with the purpose, of course, to resell?
Kanye West dropped some black static Yeezys, which were dropping in town in store. Managed to get a pair. Same day, it was worth $300 to $400 after buying it for like $180. Waited a couple hours and just sold it there and then.
Roughly a week, what would you say you make from this hustle?
Ooh, it varies, to be fair. Like there can be like a good week where I sell like 6, 7, 8 trainers, which is probably like a grand plus.
But on a bad week, what are you saying?
£200, maybe 300. With sneakers, it's more of a seasonal thing. Like the season starts, the season ends, and obviously there's going to be like a gap where nothing's releasing. But obviously that's where you take your opportunity to try and sell the stock left over.
What would you say roughly someone would need in order to actually get started?
400 to 500 just to start on a small scale. Like it's just the one-offs, and then start building it up. If you wanted to make a bit more profit, you probably need multiples of sneakers just to actually
Really build it up. And
really build it up in another level. At least a grand minimum, because at the end of the day you got to think that sneakers are very costly. The services that you pay for to get the information, to get the drops, you need to remember that as well.
Now you're going to give us a little bit insight into all these platforms and the back end of what goes on. So first and foremost, how do you identify if a trainer has the potential to be resold for profit?
There's information provided online where they tell you probably the stock numbers of them. If they're really limited in stock numbers, then you just know that you've got to get it. Never doubt Jordans, they're always going to be resold for a lot. They're probably the easiest things to like get into, look into, like understand, and just to flip really.
It's one of those things where for you to really benefit, you really need to have prior knowledge of what is to come.
Yeah.
So how do you get to that?
So initially when I first started, I was provided like with free services online. There was one website article that I always used, which was called the Soul Supplier. Now they are like just basically your sneaker updates for everything sneakers. So they'll tell you what's dropping in the coming months, what's dropping in 2021, stores that are going to be dropping the sneakers, and how to enter really. And then obviously they have their mini articles about what makes the sneakers so special. Then when you eventually get into it and get into a bigger level of reselling sneakers, you start getting into these monthly subscription services where it's very, very in-depth compared to what's provided with free services online.
Do you use social media in any way, shape or form?
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram. I follow a lot of Instagram pages and Twitter pages that just for sneakerheads and sneaker resellers that talk about drop dates, pricing, reselling pricing as well, which they're, to be fair, they're not even far off from like paid services as well.
Do you guys have any special groups? For example, in property on Facebook, you can join so many groups for different things relating to property investing, managing, and so on and so forth. Do you guys have similar things like that?
So in terms of free servicing, like on Facebook, there's a lot of like sneaker reselling and sneaker buying or sneaker meetup groups where you join the group, then you'll find a lot of other people similar to you that resell or buy sneakers on the daily.
What would you say are the ways you can market yourself?
With the way I'm doing it is basically I'm just being the face of the brand. I show my face everywhere. Like even with my personal Instagram, I've got like quite a bit of a following there where people are like, oh yeah, he loves his sneakers, he knows what he's doing. And I get a lot of the time where people just don't go to the business, they come straight to me like, oh, you got this, you got this, you got that.
From a marketing angle, using social media platforms, Instagram, TikToks, Reels, be on everything in order to get yourself out there. And it doesn't even have to be you selling. It could just be you sharing the mere fact that you love trainers, you love sneakers, you love designer handbags, you love wherever it is that you love, and you just happen to also have an entrepreneurial mindset. So now I suppose what we want to know is, where do you go to resell?
So probably the main place, if you're a beginner, I'd say Stockx. That's literally the main hub for buying and selling sneakers.
Okay.
Another one is Depop, which is again another big platform for streetwear and sneaker clothing. eBay and Facebook, which are the lower end, but they're still decent in reselling trainers. So probably my top two would be Stockx or Depop. And again, Instagram as well, which is probably the best place if you want to start your own shop.
So one thing I was curious about is, can you not walk into, for example, a Nike outlet shop and pick up trainers and put them on Stockx?
It's not really the most ideal place to go about it, because if that was the case, then if it was in an outlet store, then it wouldn't have any resale value, to be fair.
You mentioned one of the main sites that's used to resell is Stockx.
Yeah.
What are the kind of fees that come with that?
Stockx have some hefty fees.
Really?
Yeah. With the fees, you'd get a payment fee taken out, and then you'd get the authentication fee taken out, and then the delivery fee. But even then, like if you were a beginner, you'd want to get into selling first on Stockx. They offer you incentives for selling sneakers on their website. If you end up selling 10 pairs of sneakers, they'll level you up to like level 1, level 2. In that leveling, they'll reduce the fees for you just
So
because
you get a discount for utilising their platform more.
their platform. If you wanted to build your own shop, Instagram's probably the best place to do it. You can literally get no fees taken off there. Only fees you probably get taken out is just the delivery fee. You're going to have to take the safe route and use PayPal's goods and services, where you get the protection fee and the buyer gets a protection fee only at 3%. If I was a beginner, I would only go to Stockx first, because just so you know what you're doing. Because if you end up selling on eBay and Depop, you're being the independent seller that's got to do everything, whereas Stockx does everything for you and ensures that you as a seller are safe.
Out of all the platforms that you currently use, where do you find that most traffic comes from?
I'd say Instagram is probably my biggest platform in terms of selling and getting the attraction of my page brand and selling my sneakers.
So this brings me to the question, how do you identify if a pair of trainers or sneakers are authentic?
It's a 2-week process, or maybe a week process, but with Stockx they take 2 weeks. You would package it up, it goes to their center where they authenticate the sneakers through every angle, every aspect. Once they pass the authentication center, they go straight to the buyer. If the authentication process fails and you tried selling a fake sneaker, it'll come back to you, and then you'd get a hefty fine out of just trying to scam the market. Luckily, I brought my pair of Jordans with me just to show an example for you today.
Nice.
I've got a pair of the Court Purple Jordan ones that just released last year. Had to get this when I saw it.
Is that purple your favourite colour, or is it just...
I don't know, it's just something that it's just caught my eye. So for identifying unauthentic or trying to identify authentic sneakers is that the first place to look at is probably the Jordan wing logo here. So if you look at the R&D, well obviously you probably can't see it, it's connected, but with most unauthentic pairs it's just spaced out. Another big red flag is that if you see from an authentic Jordan sneaker is that it's got an hourglass shape, but most unauthentic pairs would just have like a straight shape, or wouldn't even have the original shape that all Jordans come with. Another way I would say is here. So if you could look here, right, there's star patterns that are embedded into the Jordan. Most unauthentic pairs literally don't have that star pattern embedded, because I don't think they have the required material to do that. Again, most blatant way is just the material of it. If it feels flimsy, if it feels not like cheap, sturdy or cheap, then it's a big red flag. Stitching as well, like obviously when you go to most of these factories, their stitching is not up to par or not on the same standard as Nike would normally produce them. So obviously you can see the stitching around here or the stitching across there. Like if you see a lot of glue and like uneven stitching, then you just know that it's a red flag there as well. Even with the holes on the shoe, like you can just see that it's all uniform, but if you had an unauthentic, the holes would be just everywhere. It's like,
or they can be bigger as well.
They can be bigger, or they can be smaller, or can just be randomly in different spaces. Also, even with the Nike tick as well, like a lot of them where the tick here, if you could just see, it's a flick. But a lot of unauthentic pairs don't really have that sharp end to it. They just really like lay off, and it's not really the Nike logo tick as you would expect it to be. A lot of these new sneaker resellers have started putting Stockx tags onto these sneakers. With Stockx tags, you can only get them through Stockx. There's no other way of getting it. If it's too good to be true, the price is too good to be true, then just walk away.
But what if it's through eBay, Amazon, or any other online platform?
You've got to ask them first, show me the receipt. There's paid services online as well, like sneaker authenticating websites where you just pay a couple of quid, which is not going to hurt you if you're trying to buy or sell a sneaker, where you ask the seller to send all different parts of the angles that the website needs or wants. Obviously, if you're in the game long enough, you can just quickly tell whether something's fake or whether something's real.
What sort of shoe sizes sell the most, would you say?
I'd say that the junior sizing, more of the girl sizing, are probably the money sizing as well. They sell,
really?
Yeah, they sell a lot. So from 3 to 6 are probably the most hot.
So I've also heard you can also do this through drop shipping. Could you tell us how that would work?
Basically, sneaker drop shipping is something that's newly implemented into the sneaker game, where the seller, or let's just say a brand, has a supplier that has literally all the range of like Jordans, Yeezys, like Dunks as well, like literally all the stock. So obviously there's a cost price of what they're asking for. but then you advertise what they have, but obviously you set them at your own price, so whatever profit you want to make off it. And say a customer wants to buy it, they'll buy it, but then you take that money, give it to the supplier. Supplier will then ship it to the customer. It won't come directly to you.
With that, how could quality control and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so you're relying on your supplier to ensure that everything's in condition, the quality of the shoes are good. Make sure that they're actually even authentic, because you don't know what's being shipped from the supplier to the seller. Now, the buyer. Now, obviously, if the buyer has the problem, you're the face of selling it to them, so it's going to be your situation that you have to solve out.
With this method then, your main energy really is exerted in trying to find suppliers.
Yeah.
Do you know how people go about finding suppliers?
The way to do it is just put your name out, make sure you're known, make sure your face is known, make sure you're known across the reselling community.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about how to connect with other resellers?
Yeah, so there's a thing called cook groups that are on Discord where you can buy paid services for and meet other people online that do the same thing as you. Like for me personally, I'm part of a cook group and I pay a monthly service just to get my information. But not only that, you build connections worldwide as well. And if you go onto Twitter as well, you'll find various of cook groups. I can give an example like Peachy Pings, X Notify.
You're currently still at university.
Yeah.
Could you kindly tell us how you balance running this whilst at university?
It's just about priorities, really. With balancing it, I go through my lectures, go through my studies. Then there's times in between where, like, if someone wants something or if there's a drop, then I'll make sure I'm available at that time to provide them the sneakers. Or when it comes to sneaker drops anyway, they tend to drop in on Saturdays anyway. So like once I'm done with uni on Friday, I'll have the early night, wake up Saturday morning and make sure I utilize every hour of the day into sneakers. Only for me to be set for the weekday that I don't have to worry about my stocks because I've already secured it during the weekend.
If you were to take this as a full-time hustle,
Yeah.
Where are you taking it?
Ooh, so obviously Instagram's my main platform, so if I was to take it full time, I'd want to build up my following, my loyalty, my customers, eventually hopefully open up a store as well.
That's amazing. Not everything is all glitz and glam,
No,
and
true.
there's always, struggles to everything. So I kind of wanted you to give us an idea of the pros and cons to starting this business.
So I would say, so let's just start off with the pros. So the pros is that it's not really a complex business to get into. Once you've got the basic idea and knowledge, it's easy to flow through with it. Another thing is that it's quite a very profitable business to get into as well. Let's just say, if you invest quite a lot, then you can expect to get a good amount of return in it as well. Another thing again is just that self-branding as well. Like sneakers and streetwear, it's just not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So if you actually got into it, you're going to be part of the growth, and you're just only going to benefit yourself in the long run. Another pro to getting into the sneaker game is that it gives you that business mindset where you can get into other incomes or other ways of sourcing income because you've got that business mindset. It's easy to transfer it into other industries and other paths into making money.
What are the cons?
Cons is like
Just give it to them.
cons is that you can, if you don't be careful with your spendings and your money, you can lose a lot. At the end of the day, it's not something cheap you're really selling. It's quite a couple of hundreds you're going to be selling it for, so you have got to be willing to lose that money. So it's always a patient game. You got to wait for the customers to come to you. You got to ensure that what you get is what someone's going to want, or that's going to sell. So yeah, another negative or con to this business is that if you miss out on a drop day, then it's just not going to be looking good for you. If you miss a week, you've missed a lot of money. You missed out on a lot of customers. You missed out on a lot of people relying on you to give them what they want. So another thing probably is that it is a very time-consuming game to get into. So you got to know how to balance it and ensure that what you're doing is the best way of going about things.
Yes. So before we close this video, Sam, I had some words, so you can break it down for us what they mean.
Yeah.
In the sneaker world terminology. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So number one, dead stock.
So dead stock is basically a sneaker that's in its pristine condition, that's come straight from the factory and it's never been worn by anyone obviously, besides the buyer who's going to buy it and wear it.
So JD shoes, are they dead stock?
Nah, anything on the shelf you've seen has been worn by someone, and it's just not. That's not dead stock condition.
Next, OG.
OGs are basically original versions of sneakers that were popular and in demand back a day, and that still are wearable today, such as Jordans.
So are all Jordans OGs then?
No.
Jordan 1s, the first ever
The
made.
first ever, they're OGs.
What would you say those are worth
The Jordan ones back in the past,
now in today's market?
if I had that shoe, I'd go straight to the bank for the deposit.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Next, beaters.
Beaters are basically sneakers that have been worn through everything.
Next, bricks.
Shoes just don't resell, and they're just sitting there and they have no like resale value, and it's just your money's stuck there.
And there's me thinking bricks is to do with houses. But okay. Retros.
Retros are basically retrospective versions of OG sneakers. So like this court purple Jordan 1 Retro 2.0, that's because there was an original colorway version of this Jordan a couple years back, but they brought it back today, but just probably tweaked a few bits and bobs of it.
Mids and highs, what's that?
So highs are basically the OG original Jordans. Like
Right.
These are highs. Like never mistake them for mids. Mids are, they're a bit controversial in the sneaker community. Like
Why?
a lot of sneakerheads don't like mids because they just feel like they're the rip-off versions of highs. If you said to Michael Jordan what are mids, he probably doesn't even know what you're on about.
Size runs.
Size runs is basically just a size range from my size 3 to all the way to size 11. So if you had a seller saying we got the full size run, that means they usually have all the sizes available for the buyer to have.
Colorway.
Colorway is just basically what differentiates the shoe or the Jordans, like say for example, from any other. So like this is a purple colorway, so it's basically the purple version of a Jordan 1.
Grails. What's grails?
Grails are something that are ultra rare to have. Like they probably cost a few thousands of pounds, minimum probably 2 to 3k as well. Like they're very limited in supply, and like only a few people probably have them. Probably some people keep them as an investment opportunity as well.
So next is cop.
There's another slang word just saying, oh, I've got them. Yeah.
So how would you say it with this shoe?
I've just copped a pair of Jordan 1s, purples.
Cookbrooks.
Cook groups.
Cook groups.
Cook groups are basically just services that provide you all the information, drops, investment guides, drop guides.
Next, a word that we both share in our areas of business, sourcing.
Sourcing. So sourcing is basically the reseller finding a pair of sneakers that a buyer may need that they don't have.
I know the meaning of this one. Crepes.
Crepes is just basically the UK slang terminology of basically trainers, sneakers, all of that.
So there you have it, guys. Those are the terminologies that I wanted Sam here to break down for us. I'm sure there are plenty of other terminologies, right?
But you'll learn as you go into the game further.
Yeah. Another thing that I like to ask when someone joins me on the sofa with B is, do you have any other hustles on the side that you're either looking into or you're currently also doing?
I'm always a firm believer that there's not one source of income that you can always live off. So obviously I do my part-time job as well. So I do my part-time job. Then there's sneakers. I've also just got into stock investments as well, crypto investments. Like I feel like that's probably something that is a very good thing to get into in terms of source of income if you know what you're doing. And another thing is streetwear, as in like making my own like clothing brand. Like with Hoodlums, it's not just a sneaker brand, it's like a brand in itself. So hopefully if that has a mass following, then I'll probably venture into it as well.
Okay, so designing your own streetwear and everything. No, that's fantastic. If you're somebody who has an interest in sneakers and also wants to maybe look at other ways to create those extra streams of income, this is an idea. And I suppose the main thing I want you guys to take away from this is it's a concept, and it's a concept that can be replicated with other products, not just sneakers. The possibilities are endless. It's just about thinking outside the box and opening yourselves up to more opportunities, especially during the times we are currently living in. Sam, before I close off, please can you let everyone know where they can find you?
So you can find me on my personal Instagram, which is just Samian. Link should be in the description.
Yeah.
If you are interested in any sneakers or anything, then just at Hoodlums UK on Instagram as well.
As Sam just said, I will have all the details in the description box below, so please make sure you are using it. And of course, if you have any questions, comments and so on, don't be shy, use the comment section below. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Go ahead and click that subscribe button along with that notification bell so you never miss a video. In the meantime, guys, continue being hustlers.